Hello everyone, my name is Pasidu Hasaranga and this is my group member Taridu Shanta. Today we are going to talk about our presentation titled Testing Throughout the Software Life Cycle. In this presentation, we will explain how software is developed using different models and how testing is done during each stage of the development process. Our aim is to show that testing is not just a one-time activity, but something that should be done continuously to improve the final product. Now I move to the next slide. This presentation is divided into two main parts. First, we will talk about different software development models, which will help us plan and build software in a structured way. Then we will explain the four main levels of testing that are done at different stages of development. By the end of this presentation, you will understand how using the right model and doing proper testing at the right time can help improve software quality and save time and money. Now I move to the next slide. What are the software development models? Software development models are step-by-step methods that guide how we create software. These models help us follow a clear path from the beginning of a project until it is finished. For example, they help us know when to gather requirements, when to design, when to write code, and when to test. Using these models keep the development process organized and allows team members to understand their roles clearly. The next slide. Waterfall model. Waterfall model. The waterfall model is one of the oldest and most simple models used in software development. It follows a straight line where one phase is completed before moving on to the next. First, we collect the requirements. Then we do the system design, followed by coding, testing, and family development. Once we complete a stage, we don't go back. This model is best for small projects where all the requirements are clear from the beginning. For example, if we are building a simple notepad app, the waterfall model will work. But if the client wants to make changes later, it becomes very difficult to go back and adjust things. Now I move to the next slide, V-Model. The V-Model is like the waterfall model, but with a special focus on testing. In this model, each development stage has a matching testing stage. For example, when we plan the system design, we also plan the integration test. So testing is done alongside development. This model is very useful for safety critical systems like medical devices or flight control software, where it's important to catch errors early. However, just like waterfall, it is not flexible when requirements change, and the final software is available only in the later stages of the project. Now I move to the next slide. Iterative and incremental models. This model is different because it builds the software gradually. Instead of building everything at once, we develop and deliver the software in small parts. Each part or iteration adds a new feature or improvement. For example, When creating an online banking system, we can first build the login and account view features. Later, we add things like money transfers or bill payments. This model allows us to get feedback early, but it requires careful planning and can become expensive if the iterations are not managed properly. That is the end of my part. Now I cordially invite Taridu to continue the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Pasintu. Let's start. Uh, right. Agile and Scrum. Agile is a modern and flexible method of the software development. It's work in the short cycle called the sprints, which is usually lasts between 1 and 4 weeks. At end of the each sprint, a working version of the software is a delivered. Scrum is a one of the most popular agile framework where team members have a specific roles and responsibilities. Agile is a best for the projects where the customers needs to keep changing, like the mobile apps or web services. It's help us to deliver useful software quickly, but it's also requires a skilled team and good communication among the team members. Now I move to the next slide. Spiral model. The spiral model is the mix of the both development and the risk management. In this model, we go through the repeated cycle where the plan and development test and gets feedback for the user. It is uh, especially useful for the big complex projects that involve a lot of risks, such as defense systems or enterprises software. It's helped to identify problems earlier earlier through the consent review and feedback. However, it is also very complex and expensive for the following because it is need to expert planning and the analysis. Next slide. Comparisons of models. When the comparing the all models, we can see that each one of has its strength and weakness. Waterfall and V models are good when the project requires are fixed, but they are not the flexible for the changing. Agiles and the iterative models are better for the projects that need to be the flexible and allow the feedback at each stage. Inspire is useful when the project is very big and risk, but it's take more times and cost. So the best model depends on the types of projects, however often requires changes and how much risk can involved. Next slide. Introducing the test level. Now, let's talk about the testing. Testing is not something we do only at the end of. It should happen the difference level during the software life cycle. This idea is known as the shift left approach, where where the tests early in the process. If we find the problem earlier, they are easy and cheaper to fix they are. That's why testing is done in the multiple step, not just one big test and in the end. And now I move to the next slide. Component unit testing. Uh, the first level is unit testing, which checks the individual components of the software. For the example, we might test just the login functions and to see if it is work on the own. Developer useful do its testing when they finish writing a small pieces of code. It's help to make sure that each function or method does what is the support do the before connecting it with the other parts. Let's move to the next slide. Integration testing. Next is integration testing. This testing check if different part of the system works together properly. For example, after the login function, we test the The dashboard appears with the right user data. Even if individual part of the work well, sometimes they don't connect properly. So this level help catch those issues before we move to the testing whole system. We move to the next slide. System and accepting testing. System testings come after the integration testings. Here we test the entire application as a whole to make sure that everything works together from the start to finish. A good example would be testing complete the checkout process in an online store. Then comes the acceptance testing, where the real user or client check if the software meets their exceptions. If everything works as the client wants, then the software can be approved and the released. Summary of the thank you. To some of the choosing their right development models and doing the test in every stage are very important for the building's high quality software. If we only test and the end, we might miss serious bugs. Bug it is but it is we'll test earlier and following the good models, we can catch the problem, so us save times and deliver the better result. Thank you for listening our presentation. We are now earlier answer any questions. These are our topic questions. uh, Thank you all.